What's up, everybody, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Insurance Untangled Podcast. I'm Jordan Comstock, one of the co-hosts. With me, I got Benjamin Tuine
What's up,
and Naren.
Jordan?
What's up, dogs? How you doing?
Pretty good. Pretty good, my brother.
Yeah,
I'm
man.
doing great.
Doing
Thank
great.
you for-
Sweet.
Yeah.
I'm pumped to be on another episode with you guys. Today, we're going to be talking about the cost PPO versus Google Ads versus Google SEO, which I think is an awesome topic because marketing can get confusing to most practice owners if you don't know the world, especially of technical marketing, which is SEO and PPC. Naren's our expert today. We're going to be interviewing him and discussing the differences of each of these marketing strategies. So, let's get started. My first question for you, Naren, is most people or practices don't have an effective way to compare marketing costs. The way I think about it is how much does it cost to get a similar new patient from each method, right? So customer acquisition costs or patient acquisition costs in this case. What is the cost of PPO plans?
Absolutely. Let's start there. So, if you're spending money on marketing, you need to know how much is it costing to get a new patient. Because if you don't know that information, let's say one is costing you 1 apple and the other method is costing you 10 apples, you want to use the method that's only costing you 1 apple as opposed to 10 apples, right? Because it's a lot.
It basically means you're less profitable with the 10 apple patient versus the 1 apple patient.
Exactly. And it's unfortunate, most practices don't have no idea how much each of their marketing is costing them per patient. So it's really, really, really important for you to master this. The way, we'll get into this more, the way I do this is to track all the new patients coming in. So call tracking, form tracking, etc. So okay, who came from what and how many total new patients you got from each method. But to answer your specific question, Jordan, about the cost of PPO plans, let's kind of understand how PPO works. Somebody shows up or you call them and they say, I'll send you unlimited amount of new patients, any number of new patients you want, but sign on this 300-page document. Of course, the document has so many rules and regulations on what you can do and can't do and everything else. But the key rule and regulation it has is for the life of that patient. So let's say the patient came in 2007. Let's say today is 2022. So the patient has been with you for 15 years. For the life of that patient, every single treatment you do, you don't get paid full fees. You get paid a fraction of your full fees. So let's say a crown is $1,000 and you might get paid $540. So for the life of that patient, you are giving up a portion of your hard work to this insurance company. You're giving it up in one of two ways. One is the write-off. So they'll say, okay, if the fee that's approved is, $700. Of course, Ben is an expert in working with insurance companies and so forth. We'll only pay you $560 or $540 of that approved fee. Now, even the approved fee is not what your regular UCR fee, usual and customary fee. It's again a fraction of it because, they won't let you charge what you usually would charge because they want to, control how much you can charge their patients, so to speak. So between those two, the average office today, again, I want your feedback, both Ben and Jordan, I see writing off 45, 50, 55% of what they collect in these write-offs. So it is a marketing fee, right? Think about it. Yes, you're not writing a marketing check to your PPO plan, but they're taking all that money and then paying you the balance every time you see one of their patients. And again, it's not just one time, it's lifetime. So if that patient ends up being there for 15 years and you do, let's say $15,000 worth of dentistry, you are giving up $15,000 or more, even if you use that 50% write-off example from that single patient. For the next 15 years, you are paying the insurance company for that single patient 15 grand. So it's very, very, very expensive way to get a new patient.
Yeah,
it's a ridiculously expensive way because it's tied to the lifetime of the patient. If you were to come to me today, Naren, you're like, hey, I'm going to be your marketing company for BoomCloud. I'm like, yeah, sweet, you're a cool guy, I like your company. But you said, hey, but every new customer I get for you, you have to give me 50% as long as they're with you. That's kind of that's a really bad deal for me.
You might as well shut down your business and go home, or like give me your business.
Yeah, you're like, if you look at it from a metric standpoint with like a customer acquisition cost or a patient acquisition cost, you don't want that to be an ongoing cost to your business for over the lifetime of a customer. That is really risky and really, I mean, yeah, practices make it work, but I mean, I know practices that struggle to get by because of this, right? And if you think about that, if your patient acquisition costs are tied for the lifetime of the patient, that would mean you need to generate quite a bit of revenue every patient, and not every patient needs work done like restorative care. So
Yeah.
it's a really rough business model when your customer acquisition cost or your patient acquisition cost is tied to the lifetime via a discount, right?
It's stressful.
It's very
Yeah.
stressful. So I just,
because
really bad model.
every hygiene, like you need to see 2 patients. If you're doing hygiene, 2 hygiene patients to earn your full fee.
Yeah, that's
for
rough.
1 patient, right?
Yeah.
Because you're getting 50% or less on hygiene, and you have to see double the amount of patients to earn the revenue that you want, basically. So it's rough. But Naren, what about, so when we talk about the comparisons between the cost of PPO plans, what's the cost of Google SEO for new patients?
Yeah, so we work with around 400 dental practices across the country, and what we are noticing is, let's say $1 million practice would spend 15 grand throughout the year on marketing. Now, this is not a lifetime fee where for that patient you're going to keep paying for the rest of your life. So let's say so 15 grand as a percentage of $1 million is 1.5%. That's the highest I have seen typically in terms of how much practices are spending. So let's compare that for a minute. The other one is 50%. This is 1.5%. So 1.5% is like a fraction, like, 30 times 1.5 is 45%. It's a tiny fraction of, and the other beauty is, let's say you get that new patient, that's it. You're not paying that marketing company, for the next 15 years because they got your patient 15 years ago. So it's a pretty good deal. And it typically works out to like $50 a new patient, $30 a new patient, depending on, of course, the type of patient you're looking for.
And do we know the average lifetime value of a patient? What do they pay?
Absolutely. The average lifetime value, I think it kind of depends on the practice, depending on the work.
Sure.
But I've
it's
seen
going
anywhere
to
from like, $5,000 to, $20,000.
Yeah. So if you're saying that with, if you use SEO and you pay $50 to get a new customer, that new customer will generate anywhere from $5,000 to $20,000 over the lifetime. So that is a way better business model than working with insurance.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting, right? I mean, if you think about it, why would anybody give up $15,000 because they gave you a patient 15 years ago? I mean, I can imagine if it was communist Russia from the 1980s, maybe that, otherwise you'll get shot in your head.
That makes more sense. Yeah, that makes sense there.
I don't get it. Like, why would somebody do that? Like, it just doesn't make any logical sense. Like,
oh, sorry there, Naren.
Go ahead.
I agree. The interesting thing, Naren, that I just thought about is there was I need to find this study, but a dental school did a study on how patients find their dentist,
right?
And the percentage of people that find their dentist from their insurance plan, meaning they log in, they do Aetna dentist search or Delta dentist search. Well, that figure is less than 5%. So interestingly is that for practices that do participate with PPOs, they're writing off that 40 to 50%, right? But they're still spending marketing dollars
to acquire the patient.
Those patients and then pay the ransom to the insurance company.
But that's the current reality. It's like being in network doesn't necessarily drive new patients, and you still need to go out there and do your own marketing efforts. Right. So you're
so there's no give to get, really. It's just like
not from insurance.
Well, yeah, and if you think about it too, on the insurance side, is that most practices, your competitors are probably signed up with the same plan, so there's no like exclusivity in marketing where
exactly
you can find a really good marketing company and the practice on the street maybe is using a different one, and the
Right.
one that you found is excellent for your practice, like there's a little bit more, there's some value there for the practice, right? Versus, oh, we're all signed up under Delta. Delta doesn't like really do much for your practice other than
Put you on a
the
list.
patient show up. Yeah, put you on a list. Patient show
Right.
up. It's like that's not how marketing is done anymore. Or even I don't think at any point in history, marketing is like, yeah, we're just gonna put you on a list and people are gonna come to you. You always have to stand out and figure out how to attract patients.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny. I used to think that universities, like make $1 million, right, for pretty much a bunch of lectures over 4 years.
Mhm.
But think about insurance companies. Like let's say you're on a plan and you're giving $500,000 a year, and you are working for that insurance company or working with that insurance company for 20 years. That's a $10 million check. I mean, I
Yeah.
think this is like 10 times better than running Ivy League universities.
Well, think of it this way too, like outside, like let's say like the dentist, you go to school
Yeah.
and you get educated, and let's say that school's like, hey, you don't need to pay us any tuition, but moving
Right.
forward, you pay us 50% of your earnings because we taught you how to be a dentist,
Dentist.
right?
Exactly.
And you got to pay
Yeah.
that. Like if you back that out one step for like back, like with the schooling and
Yeah.
education system that dentists go through, that would be a ridiculous deal for them. But then they get into business and sign these PPO contracts that's the deal.
Yeah. That's the deal. Yeah.
That's crazy. So we talked about the cost of PPO write-offs, Google SEO. I think the next one is what, Jordan? Google Ads, right?
Yeah. What's the cost of Google Ads compared to the two?
Yeah.
That's where you pay for like a search listing on Google. What's the difference there?
Absolutely. So Google makes a lot of money too. I mean, it's worth $1.5 trillion, I think, as we are recording it. That's like, there's only like 4 companies that are worth as much. And the way Google makes money is you go to Google to use SEO. We use Google 6.7 billion times a day. That number continues to climb. And
Wow.
they'll show you the SEO results for free, but they don't make any money from the SEO results. So next to the SEO result, they'll show you some ads. Last year alone, just from ads, Google made $224 billion. If Google were a country, it would be like, I guess, the 55th richest country in the world, because they make more money than 170 countries GDPs.
Wow.
So Google also makes a ton of money from Google Ads. And the way they do it is they make SEO super hard. So 5% of the practices get 95% of the free traffic. So the 95% have to pay Google, just like the PPO ransom, the Google Ads ransom. Of course, it's a lot cheaper than the PPO ransom, but still it is expensive. So I know dentistry alone pays $1 billion plus to Google every single year. I mean, the dental profession alone in these Google Ads. And what I have found is the average person who clicks on a SEO link, meaning the organic link, because they typed in dentist near me or Vineas, 60616 or Vineas Chicago, whatever the zip code or the city name or near me. And then you show up. If they click on an SEO link, meaning the organic free link, they will spend an average of 90 seconds. If they click on an ad, they will spend an average of 15 seconds. So if I divide 90 by 15, it's a 6x multiple. So you need almost like 6 to 10 times more people to get the same quality patient that you would get from SEO, just because when they click on the ad, they have doubt. They're thinking, oh, is it going to work? Is it not going to work? So because of that doubt, they're looking to leave. So unless you are like amazing and you can make a quick impression in 15 seconds, they're going to go to the next person. So typically what I find is it's at least, so if the budget is 1.5 times, that's kind of the high end of the SEO budget. I have seen practices for SEO spend even 0.3%. So like 1/3 of 1%. So Google Ads, on the other hand, will minimum cost you 5%, but I've seen it cost as much as 10%.
A quick thought on Google Ads. So it's definitely better than PPO plans.
Absolutely.
I would imagine that targeting, and I got a story on this, targeting like very specific keywords could be advantageous. Here's my story. When I was managing the dental lab for my dad, I did SEO and PPC stuff. Task for him. I realized that in our market that people are literally typing in "my dog ate my denture, how do I fix it? So I set up specific ads on about
Brilliant.
like when people typed in that, because I'm like, people are searching for this. This is ridiculous. And so it was hyper targeted keyword,
Yeah.
right, in Google that people were typing for. And I had a landing page that, that talked about dogs eating dentures and why they eat them and how we could fix them. Right. And we got business from it all the time. So is that kind of your approach with Google PPC or Google ads, is if you're going to do them, do it really specific?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think Google is a lot smarter today than it was even a year ago, 2 years ago, 10 years ago. So people are asking what you call long tail questions, meaning these are very specific questions like dog ate my dentures. So when we look at the average practice who we have been working with, let's say for 3, 4, 5 years, some of them are ranking for 500 keywords or phrases on page 1 of Google. And you're right. It's like, implants gone wrong.
Specific,
Very, 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 very specific questions. And it's almost like 2 reasons. One is healthcare is very personal, and 2, healthcare can be expensive, especially, high value services. So people want to be sure that they have done all their research. So when they're doing their research, if you can share your information as part of the answer, they know, like, and trust you more and more. So I've seen you like 17 times when they're researching veneers. Whose name do they remember? The one they saw 17 times versus the one they didn't, right? So you stand out, you are in their subconscious mind. They don't know why, but for some reason they think you are good because you keep showing up. So I think that strategy of like going after like many keywords is critical. When it comes to SEO.
Cool.
That's awesome. I'm still hung up on why dogs eat dentures, and all I can think of is that dogs like licking butts. And is there a connection?
Yeah, it's a connection. That's exactly why, Ben. Yeah, that's the connection.
Sorry about that.
No, thanks. Children. That was an excellent question, Ben. Thank you.
I gotta apologize to any of the kids of the dentists that are listening. My apologies.
Yeah.
What about social media, Naren, in terms of cost for dentists?
Yeah, absolutely. And again, there are 2 ways to get traffic from social media. Just like there's organic Google or SEO, which is organic Google, there is organic social media and social media ads. Again, my experience working with 400 dental practices is literally I can count in my hand who I call a social dentist. What I mean is they love being in front of the camera. They love creating content. Like there's one of my clients, literally she has, I don't want to name her name because I don't get her permission, like 400 videos on Instagram. It's 600 videos on YouTube. So she loves this stuff. She
doing like TikTok dances. Is that what they do?
No, she does all kinds of stuff. She has 100,000 people following on Instagram, and it's, and then she has communities. She has people who want to learn about social media following her. She has, patients following her. She has, moms following her because she's a mom. So there's so it's almost like she has groups of people following her for different reasons, and then she caters to them by giving special content and value. Sometimes it's entertainment, sometimes it's fun, sometimes it's education. But
gosh, maybe we should start doing TikTok dances on this podcast. I think you guys would be good dance partners.
I have what do they say, 2 left feet?
No, we'll just make you do the haka. You're
there you go.
Yeah.
I can do that.
Yeah, you're good at that.
So if you're one of those people who loves, content and who loves videos and, like being a celebrity, then it's perfect, right? Because the more you create those videos that 10,000, 100,000 people watch, the more money Mr. Zuckerberg, all these CEOs make. So of course they'll send you more traffic. It's a perfect relationship. Because remember, the difference between Google and social media is we don't need to use social media. We use it because we have that urge, because we click scrolling down that news feed and there's always something interesting that we want to watch or we have to watch. As opposed to Google, we use it because we are asking questions and we need answers. So it's a 2 different business models. So if you're not in that 1% who loves being a celebrity, then your only choice
the Kardashian model. Yeah.
Exactly.
We'll call it the Kardashian model. Yeah.
Pimple popper, right? In medicine, we all know.
Gross. You always bring that example up and it makes me want to
Because
vomit.
we all know the example.
We just want to see a reaction to it.
Yeah, it's so gross. I came home one day, my wife and daughter were watching it. I'm like, what the hell are you guys watching? This is disgusting.
See, some people watch it. You might not.
Yeah.
Okay, so I
People watch
think,
it.
did we get all the questions here?
So to answer your question on the cost of social media
Oh,
ads, my experience is the average person on Google ads will spend 15 seconds. The average person from social media ads, because if you're not in the 1%, you have to depend on ads to drive traffic, will spend 5 seconds. Why? Because they neither have the intention nor trust, right? Ads, there's no trust because it's an ad. Social media ads, again, no trust because it's an ad, but also no intention, meaning I didn't type in veneers and I saw this ad on social media. I was just browsing and I randomly see this ad on social media. So for every 3 people who are interested in veneers, there are 97 people on social media who are not interested in veneers because they never asked about veneers.
Sure.
They never talked about veneers. So because of that, I think the budget for social media is at least double Google Ads budget and 10 times more expensive than a SEO budget.
Yeah, that's interesting. So why is it that PPOs are 30 times more expensive than SEO and Google ads is 5 times more expensive than social media ads and social media ads are 10 times more expensive? Why?
I mean, of course, PPO, they have to make $10 million from every doctor, right? I mean, we did the
math. They're paying their CEOs $10 million.
CEOs $10 million, right? Because every year you give them $500,000 and 20 years. So of course, that's why, PPO is the most expensive because they created a business model, which is genius. If you're on the other side, you'll be like, yeah, I mean, you'll be like, this is the best thing ever, like since sliced bread or, even. So that's why. And then of course, Google, has an economic engine. They have to make a ton of money to keep their shareholders and the bonuses flowing. So they need to keep charging more and more with ads, just the way life works, right? Google made 60 million 20 years ago. Now they make 200 billion. So is the population of the world grow like 200 times? It didn't, right? It's just that they're charging you more and more. And of course, same thing with social media. So I do think those economic drivers is why it makes these things more and more and more expensive. But SEO is not easy. Google knows that if anybody's going to get free traffic, then they won't use ads. So they make it harder and harder, and they keep changing their rules all the time.
That's interesting. So what if I'm thinking, Naren, I want to dominate Google in terms of that whole traffic, and opportunity. So what do I need to do, or where should I get started with evaluation? Yeah,
absolutely. The way I answer that question, or I like to answer that question, is to think of like getting into the top dental school in the world. And you kind of know what they're looking for. I'm sure they're looking for a very strong GPA. They're looking for
me.
You're not
I wouldn't have made it.
You won't even get into the gate. You'll be like,
yeah. I'm banned. Yeah. Sorry.
So they're looking for the GPA. They're looking for good references. They're looking for a great interview. They want a good DAT test score. So they're looking for 5 or 6 things. If you ace all of them, and there's a decent chance you might get in, right? Maybe a 30% chance. Now, remember, dental school is not free, as opposed to SEO is free. So SEO is, I would say, is even harder. And the other thing is, just because you got free traffic from Google yesterday, Google has no reason to give you free traffic today. So one of the things that Google does is it keeps changing its rules like 8 times a day or 3,000 times a year. So you have to you can't just do it once and just sit on your laurels. You have to keep doing it day in and day out if you want to keep getting that free traffic by ranking for hundreds of keywords. So what are the 6 things that Google looks at? Just like the admissions officer looks at a few things. One is NAP, name, address, phone number, consistency. Second one is Google Eat. This doesn't apply to all industries, but definitely applies to healthcare. Third one is Google Lighthouse score. So every single page gets a score in 5 different areas, 0 to 100. If you're close to 100, Google loves you. Fourth is quality backlinks. So these are like who's linking to you, if they are good, bad, and so forth. Fifth is original content. Very, very, very important. So are you writing content the way Google wants? 400 plus pages. You haven't copied even a sentence from anywhere else. And last but not least, Google reviews. Like, do you have love letter reviews? How often are you getting these reviews? How many reviews do you have? So if you keep working on these 6 areas day in and day out, either you and or your marketing company, and you're investing the number of hours to do things properly, then you're going to be in the top 5%. So it's not a game for the 95%. It's a game for the people who want to be in the top 5%.
Gotcha. And I understand, Naren, if you have an offering for our guests and listeners who might want to take advantage of a consultation of sorts. Can you go cover that for us, for our listeners?
Absolutely. So we have something called a marketing strategy meeting, and it's a 90-minute meeting. It's a $900 value. Prior to the meeting, our team will spend 6 hours looking at you. They'll also look at all of your competitors. And then they figure out, how are you doing on Google? Are you in the top 5% or you're not in the top 5%? Because it's one of those yes or no. If you're in the top 5%, you get a ton of traffic. If you're not, you get no traffic. So if you're not in the top 5%, they'll try to find out where you are not doing as well. Is it NAP? Is it Lighthouse Score? Is it Google Lead? Is it original content? So they'll give you a report card. So literally, like, each one of those 6 areas, how are you doing? What are the issues? What you need to do to fix it? So think of it like a report card, and then also they'll give you a plan. So let's say you work with us, Equa Marketing, ekwa.com. What would we do to turn things around to get you into the top 5%? Now, marketing doesn't stop at Google, right? Just because somebody sees you many, many, many times for all the keywords and phrases on Google doesn't mean your phone is going to ring. They still have to decide, make a choice to pick up the phone and call your office. So how do you convince them? So we use an expert by the name of Dr. Robert Cialdini. He's a psychologist. He studied influence. I'm sure you know who he is. You guys all probably use his techniques or his thoughts and learning in your businesses. Anyways, what he said is there are 6 principles, and if applied correctly, they create a moment when people are 3 times more likely to say yes. So how do we apply those principles on your website, on your Google reviews, on the internet? So more and more people not only keep seeing you, but also decide to pick up the phone and call you. And then, of course, we track it all. So, you know what's going on. So that's kind of what the next step is. So we have a link. Maybe you can share that. You can say what that link is, Ben or Jordan. So if anybody uses that link, books a marketing strategy meeting, then of course we would do that at no cost. Take that plan, whether you work with us or not, now you know what you need to do to, get the lowest cost, most cost-effective new patients through SEO.
That's awesome. And the link is insuranceuntangled.com/MSM. MSM, of course, short for marketing strategy meeting. Wow, Naren and Jordan, thank you so much for your insights. Thank you, Naren. You're like a walking encyclopedia when it comes to all things marketing. Sometimes I wish I can take like a memory drive and just plug it into your brain there to download all the great stuff that you have in there. But we really appreciate your willingness to share all these tips with us today. And of course, Jordan, thanks for joining me today in this wonderful interview with Naren. We also want to thank all our listeners for joining us today with another amazing episode of the Insurance Untangled Podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to share it with your friends on social media or any other platform that you use. We also want to, ask and solicit your reviews. Your reviews will help other doctors find us and allow for our content to continue. Please write us a review on your favorite podcast platform, whatever it may be. If you're an insurance expert and wish to share helpful information on our podcast, please contact us via the insuranceuntangled.com website. Go to the contact page and be happy to consider your topic. To everyone else, until we meet again, have a successful week.